that leads to the second question. These trials of local consolidation are generally slow to enroll, unfortunately, even with broad enrollment. That is correct. Is it feasible to run trials that limit just patient enrollment with driver mutations? I think the answer is yes to that. Are they only going to be done in Asia and then viewed skeptically as not generalizable outside of Asia? I think we still have a large patient population with these mutations on the coasts, at the very least in the United States. There was a trial with EGFR with EGFR mutant disease where patients were treated up front with local therapy. The SINDOS trial, it was a phase 3 randomized trial, amazing outcome, improved overall survival. There was some weird findings at 6 months that didn't make a lot of sense on that trial with respect to the progression-free survival and OS differences and treatment response differences between the two cohorts. Yes, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's nice to see multiple studies demonstrate a similar outcome before it's completely made a standard of care. This is not like a drug that goes to an FDA for approval. This is more a change in treatment paradigm. And I think having multiple studies that show the same results will probably be more necessary to convince a greater number of physicians and patients that it's the appropriate therapy.
But I think that brings up a very important point about the importance of clinical trials from a field perspective, from the patient perspective, from the clinician perspective, that we can design clinical trials that are going to be applicable, that we create eligibility criteria that patients can get to, that we bring clinical trials closer to the patient and make it more widely available. And I just wanted to bring up another point about your talk. Puneeth, you said that perhaps in the oligometastatic disease, some of the criteria may not be optimal. And you talked a little bit about thinking about quality of life as an important measure in trials that are not always captured. And I had a question for you about that in an oligometastatic disease trial where you're adding radiation in terms of the timing of measuring the quality of life, endpoints may alter that endpoint as well. So what are your thoughts on how would we do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. When we give radiation to the chest or to an extra thoracic site, you're absolutely right. You can see toxicity at very different time points. So we worked very closely with Ben Mofsis at NRG, who's really a quality of life expert and happens to be also a thoracic radiation oncologist. And we're really trying to capture quality of life metrics at the time of the registration on these trials, but every 3 months for as long as those patients are on the study. So that means even after progression, which is our primary endpoint for the phase 2 portion. And the reason is for what you exactly said. There are some patients who will have early acute toxicity, which will affect their quality of life. And there are also patients who will have chronic delayed toxicity. And so it's really critical that we don't just simply say, oh, yeah, the primary endpoint has been met, stop doing QOL measures. We're going to keep doing that until probably death on the study. And so that will help us understand whether things, the toxicity and the quality of life changes are delayed or they're acute, and really go towards what you're getting at, which is timing of events and outcomes.